This might be when Thomas got more to this whole Down Thomas. Unless I see it. What do everybody say? Unless I see it what? My own eyes. And I can touch it. You know, and I ain't gonna believe it. You know? Now, kind of strange. But now you have to understand these same disciples. What happened with Mary Magdalene when she came back from the tomb? After she had talked with Jesus. And Jesus told her to go tell the disciples. They told Mary Magdalene and the lady with her that y'all crazy. I was going to say, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all don't see nobody.
I'm on Facebook.
You know? See, give them that to the doubt. Not only, you know, what they got is Jesus, but hey, how long have Mary Magdalene walked with
You
Jesus?
hear something?
Brought back the love of the disciples and walked with her. He took the 7 demons out of her, so she never went back to the life of the folk. So guess what? When they was walking doing this ministry, she walked too. Yeah? But when she took the word, nobody, you know, but sometimes it's hard. It takes a while of faith. You know. How many people trust? Yeah. Anybody?
I'm thinking about the fact that when you hear really something that sounds so good and fantastic, you know, it's like you doubt that anything can be that good, like anything can really, you know, it's too good to be true. Is the way they say it. So
One thing is that the disciples go around, so
Yes.
pierced him in the side with a spear and nailed him to the cross. That's really what they were doing. You all get break their legs so that you can hold themselves up and suffocate. So they saw that scene of people crucified. So then someone comes to you, well, Jesus, you know, I said, that's what he was naked down, reached on road and stuff. You couldn't understand why. That was somebody attacked by a mob, killed in the street. And somebody come kill you. Well, you know, you walking, you're not trying to
You may look, huh? You ain't never seen him before. Even though somebody done set the table for you, say 3 days. Jesus had already told him that the Jews told me he was crazy, drunk. In 3 days I destroyed this temple and rise it up again. Hold up. It took us all these centuries to build this temple of Solomon. How you like you gonna add up and rebuild it? Well, see, they think in earth, you know. You're not thinking spirit, you know. And so, by having natural doubt and stuff, that's human nature. That's human nature. Human beings, you feel for whatever reason, you will die. And you will get shaken, even though you purport to be the strongest person in the house. You know, faced with insurmountable odds, you know, you really don't know which way you're going to go, left or right. You know, so for the disciples to be a little leery, you know, I applaud the boldness of Mary Magdalene. Now, hey, you go there, you know, especially when you go there, you expect to see two Roman gods, but you expect to go there and see, hey, the gods that took a siesta. Hey, Jesus missing, the big stone that rolled away, but who rolled it away, you know? And so, you know, something, but to let everybody know and stuff, you know, trust God. Trust in the miracles, you know, and this is what you know, the lesson pointed out to it and stuff, say, unlike, you know, Thomas wasn't the first person that questioned God, okay? They had, Job did it. You also had David. That's how the song was. David, you know, telling the Lord, well, you know, you did this, you did that for us, you know, well, how come we having to suffer like this, or why do we have to go through this and stuff, you know? Everybody at some point or some time, because you're going through something that's so stressful, something that's so traumatic, Then what if somebody close to you died? Like you said, we talked before and stuff about praying and then somebody you love died, and you don't pray for Lord to heal them and stuff, and nothing happened. You know? See, some people get mentally turned the whole other direction and stuff, you know. But, you know, everybody during their moment of stress or whatever, you know, you may have a Gideon, you know, get a chance, y'all go back and read Judges 6 chapter and stuff about Gideon. Now you're talking about somebody who went overboard and stuff, you know. When the Lord called Gideon, and Gideon was so out of tune and stuff, you know, and he said, you know, if the Lord be with us, why all this befalling us? No. If he did all them miracles, if he took us all out of the land of Egypt, like our forefathers said and stuff, why he letting the Midianites and the Ammonites dog us all out and stuff, you know? Why are we doing this and why are we doing that? Well, guess what? He was asking all them questions and talking all that smack, but he wasn't talking to God. He was talking to the people around him. Now, true enough, it's one thing to be scared, you know? But if you got a question, Thomas asked one person answer, you know, and sometimes if you got a problem that's that bad and stuff, you know, then maybe, you know, you might need to be like Thomas. You may need to go, you know, to Jesus beforehand. But Thomas, because Jesus, that'd be strange talking to Jesus. But Jesus always know what you're going to say before you say it. Jesus knew everything Thomas had said to the other disciples. So when Jesus made all the appearances, once to Peter, then to 500 people, and towards the tail end of the story and stuff, you know, on the 7 disciples was there. First point, it was me being curious and stuff. What you think I know, Sheriff? Where was the other folks?
Yeah.
You understand? On the 7 people. And then if you look at the last verse, you know, 21 verse 2, after they were together, Simon, Peter, and Thomas called Demas, and Nathaniel Canaan. Thomas' name. So if Thomas had failed so far out of grace with Jesus by asking all these crazy questions and stuff, you know, Thomas was one of the people that was there. What one person you don't see listed there that you thought would have been there? John. If you thought anybody else would have been, what was John doing? What was John doing? Jesus had been crucified. Remember my last lesson? Last week, what? Woman, here's your son. Son, here's your mother.
Taking care of Mary.
John was taking care of Mary. John was on his job. You know? So, you know, that lets you know that even though Thomas had did a lot of things, that put a lot of questions and stuff, you know, Jesus had enough trust and enough faith in Thomas that when Thomas asked these questions, it opened up everybody else's faith to enable them to believe, you know, because when Thomas asked these questions, that gave Jesus the whole opportunity to explain A, B, C, D, 1, 2, and 3, you know, to everybody. So everybody got the same answer that Thomas was asking, you know, that probably most of them was probably thinking and stuff, you know. Jesus said to him, you know, after he told him, put your finger in my hand, he told Thomas up front, he said, hey, walk in. When Jesus, all of a sudden, they're still in the room, the door shut. All of a sudden, blink your eyes 2 times, Sheriff. Jesus just stand up looking at him. Room and stuff, after he gave the salutatory greeting, you know, peace be with you. The next thing he said was, hey, look at Thomas. Come here. Put your hand, look at my hands. Put your hand and hold, you know, beside or something. You know, because he knew what Thomas said to the disciples. And he also knew that if you can get a doctor like Thomas, a person who's uncertain like Thomas to have faith and to believe and stuff, what do you think that do to everybody else? You know? See, now everybody's mind is open to the possibility, you know? And the thing about it is, when Jesus told him this thing, he said, do not doubt but believe. Thomas answered, my Lord and my God. Same Thomas, went out throughout history called the Doubting Thomas. Thomas was the first person to allude to the deity of Jesus. My Lord and my God. You know? Everybody went holler, you know, Jesus wasn't no God. Jesus was no son of God. He might have been another prophet, you know. Might have been like Muhammad and, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But old Doubting Thomas put it out there. After he done touched his, you know, he done looked at his hand, the holes in him, done stuck his hand, you know, in the side. Hey, Thomas said, look at him. Ain't no more doubt.